Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Center for Conscious Living and our weekly conscious conversation video. This week, our topic is releasing the past, and it is part 3 of our April series, Spiritual Metamorphosis, the Metaphysics of Birth and Renewal. You have Renee, Lori, and myself, Spencer, here, and this is week 3 of our own metamorphosis as an organization. As you know, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to innovative spiritual teachings that are designed to enhance your awareness that divine presence and power is available to you in every moment for all you desire. We're really quick before we get into our lesson for our topic for today. Next week we are off, so we are taking 2 weekends off in May, the first being next Sunday, and then the last Sunday, which is the Sunday right before Memorial Day. We'll have those 2 Sundays. There will not be any live video, so enjoy this one. We suggest that you, in this time, go back and maybe revisit one of the videos you might have missed. So all of our videos do a nice little Russian nesting doll type of a deal. So go ahead and watch up and catch up and enjoy that if you're missing us while we're off. In the meantime, you're here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. We did have a little bit of a software issue last week. Hopefully that's resolved and everything should be running smoothly. Leave us a comment, like, share, follow. We love that. We love being able to interact with you. If I see it pop up on my little dashboard that you probably notice my eyes keep darting over to, I'll shout you out. So if I see you commenting, see you saying anything on there, I'll shout you out and you'll get your name said on TV. You can say hi, Mom, or whatever you want to say. So yeah, so that's great. With that being said, let's learn about releasing the past with Renee.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm going to change my view real quick. There we go. Okay, so welcome. Glad you're here again. Whether you're here with us live or replay, we're glad you're here. And we're going to talk today about releasing the past, as Spencer said, part 3 of our series. And we've kind of been approaching the spiritual metamorphosis similar to the butterfly experience, the caterpillar cocooning at first. We spoke about evolving consciousness. That was part 1. I encourage you to, if you haven't listened to that, that's really the foundation of any time of any understanding of creating a life that brings you joy and peace and prosperity. So please check that out if you've missed it, part 1. And then part 2 was Easter Sunday, and we talked about, we kind of brought in the concept of the resurrection and how the caterpillar becomes, as it's cocooning, it becomes then the butterfly, but it stays in the chrysalis for a time while it's still vulnerable and forming the beautiful magnificence of the butterfly. So today we're going to be releasing. And so it's like we're going to compare that with the butterfly coming out now, ready to fly away and be this gorgeous creature that helps spread the beautiful pollen of flowers everywhere for us. What a wonderful existence, isn't it? So before we do that, as on every week, we like to start with a grounding for everybody and an opening of energy. And in doing that, we want to approach it in a way that we bless all life on planet Earth, all people, all life, and the Earth itself. So let's take a deep breath, please. Exhale a sound. Whoa. Another deep breath. Hold 3 seconds. Release. Pause 3 seconds. And now one more very slow, gentle breath, very thorough from the ground up, visualizing it coming up your spine. And then a very gentle exhale, like a cascading waterfall around you. And in this peaceful state, I ask you to join with me, with all of us at SCfCL, to hold sacred space for one another, yourself. Begin with yourself. And now emanate that into your life, all those you love, neighbors. I encourage you to consider anyone that you may be at odds with. Emanate this to them as well. Sacredness of all life is true for them too. And now allow it to spread across the globe. Like the butterfly concept of just one butterfly wing affects the winds, it affects the energy web across the globe. Well, so too does holding sacred space for that all people may be treated with honor, that all creatures may be treated with honor, that all sentient beings, nature, will be treated with honor. The earth itself will be treated with honor. And now bring it back to you again, that you may know your divine worth as a sacred being, as a being of light and love and peace and joy and abundance. Take another breath, please. Holding space, that all people everywhere know divine presence and power is with them, always available. And they increasingly receive and embrace and embody this truth, this blessing. Amen. And so it is. I have a tickly nose today, so please note, bear with me as I'm using a Kleenex, just the tickle manageable. So let's talk about releasing the past. I first want to start with this question. Do you feel burdened down by anything in your past? Your past could be 10 minutes ago. Is there anything going on that might cause you to feel a sense of burden that you're carrying with you, that you haven't been able to either forgive yourself for or forgive someone else for, another person, maybe an organization, a government, a group that you deal with, a group of family members, community, organization, a company you've worked for or currently work for or with. So just be aware of it. Just please bring it to mind. Just bring it to mind. And now just let it be. And as we have this conversation, and then we go into the group conversation later, I just ask you to open and be willing for that to be released today when we go through the energy activation in a few minutes. That is you are very capable of releasing it. And we will together hold that energy to support you in it. Let's talk about what that means to release the past. Releasing the past means you don't resist what has happened or what you may be currently feeling about what has happened. You actually have the courage to let yourself feel it and then release it. The resistance people have to painful thing, being, what you might call being healed from wounds of things that were painful, things that you may be, quote, justified in feeling, right? Someone may have behaved in a way that was completely unkind, even harsh, even cruel to you or others. We do see that, of course we do, in the human realm. I'm not suggesting we pretend everything's okay. This is not about that. It is not pretending that cruelty is acceptable. It is not pretending that even unkindness is acceptable. But in choosing the discernment with conscious choice and awareness that a certain behavior by others or yourself is not the truth of who you are and not the truth of what you choose to be a part of in the human realm of life. You being that divine self, that part, that person who is actually a spiritual being above and foremost. Above all and foremost, you are a spiritual being. And so that part of you is always calmly observing the human realm. That divine self of you is not frightened by the things happening in the human world, in the human realm of this beautiful life experience. That part of you is calmly guiding you and inspiring you for improvement, because that part of you is the part of you that has a glorious self-empowerment divinely bestowed. That being what we talked about, and we talk about as we open every week, the availability and complete and total access at all times to divine presence and divine power. The greatest, the power greater than anything in humanity, the power that created this world, that creates all worlds, the power that creates all life and sustains all life. That power is a pure love, creation energy, always expanding, evolving. It's not correcting the past, it's creating anew. That's what we talked about last week. It's not correcting anything from the past, it's evolving and creating new in every moment. You cannot be in that space, as we said last week, if you are dragging with you huge burdens from your past, or you're observing it in others' lives, even globally, and taking on that burden, rather than choosing to create a new positive experience in those situations for yourself and others. It's a very important difference. If you didn't hear last week, please go back, because that's what we covered last week. Huge difference. Put your energy in creating anew, not in trying to change what has already been created. Allow yourself to use all of your energy, your human energy, brain power, intellect, special talents and abilities, and your spiritual, that divine self of you that is aligned with the divine power and presence. Use all of that to create new, improved, evolved, expanded, elevated options, choices. It can only be done with conscious awareness, clear intention, and conscious choice, moment by moment. You cannot do any of that if you are entangled in your heart or in your mind with things of the past that you feel are mistakes, things you regret, things you blame others for, things you carry shame about for yourself. Please take a breath. I know it's a heavy thing. Take a breath and do your best to let that go. Just let it be. Just let it be. We're not saying that you pretend it was okay, whatever happened to you, or whatever you might have done that you wish you had done differently. We're saying that it just is. It just is. The truth of the matter is you did the best you could in the moment. Even if you know you're capable of better, in that moment, that was the best you could do. Now, if you are aware that you were very clear that there was a better choice, but you refused to make it for some reason, open your heart, forgive yourself, and make a commitment to not continue down that path. That is a path toward the dark, not into the light of the one, the divine, God force, life force. When you know better, do better. And when you're not, when you could and you don't let yourself, you have a trigger that just grips you and you just don't make the conscious choice, examine that. We're going to talk more about that in the coming month, or actually a few months. Those are big, big, big issues in our world. Just make a commitment very softly and gently, purely. I will choose consciously And when I know better, I will have the courage to do better. I will allow divine presence and power to help me have the courage to do better and to guide me with the wisdom of what it is in that moment to do something or not, to say something or be still. But always, always to hold sacred space for honor toward self and others, all people, all living beings, all creatures, all sentient life, our beautiful planet. So, what is the thing that's the most burden to you at this moment in your life? It may not seem like a big thing to others, but it's big to you. Other people may have told you 1,000 times, let it go. Why is that still so hard for you? You didn't do anything wrong. You did your best. Forgive those other people. They did their best. Let it go. Yes, they were wrong. They were awful. And you're the one suffering by holding on to it. All of those things you may have heard 100 times or more. And yet, often there's still something. There's still something. If that's true for you, even if it's this big, or even if it's big as life, just lay it down for a moment. And I'm going to say that a few times, so we'll just keep laying it down. Sometimes it has to be done, like the energy of it has to be untangled, like a layer peeling away, or a big tangled ball of yarn being untangled a little bit at a time. Lay it down, lay it down, lay it down. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. So the last thing I want to say about this before we go into the energy activation, that's will be kind of in a meditative state for us. I want to ask yourself, do you truly, truly desire to be present in this moment and live in a state of being present right now in every moment, making each new moment a new creation, a new experience, more evolved, more expanded, more elevated than the past moment, and 10 minutes ago, and 1 hour ago, and 1 day ago, and 1 week ago, and a month ago, and a year ago, and a decade ago? Are you truly committed to that? Creating anew in every moment? I hope your answer is yes. If you want to share it, we'd love to see it. If your answer is some form of, well, it sounds good, but I don't know. It sounds too good to be true. I don't know. Or it sounds like it's impossible. I don't know how. Well, I invite you to have faith in the infinite potential of the power that creates worlds, and open yourself to receive that power and presence on whatever this is in your life, so that you can very quietly and gently and easily allow infinite possibilities, which means unlimited possibilities to create anew in every moment. Unlimited possibilities to create anew in every moment. It cannot happen when you're holding on to something from the past, either to change it, or because you feel you can't forgive someone, or because you feel you can't forgive yourself, or because you're locked in some sort of blame, shame situation with yourself or toward another, or toward an entity, a group of people. Is that really more important than you having full capacity to receive divine presence and power to create anew in every moment, blessing yourself, all your loved ones, and all life? Surely that's the most important thing for you. Surely that is. I invite you to come back next week and listen to all 3 series. Each one now, if you want just the message, it's very short. And if you want just the meditative energy activation, that's very short. If there was something said during the conversation section between me and Spencer and Lori, then you can get to that and listen to that. Come back and let this lesson really change you. Listen to it again. Listen to the part of it or parts of it that you most need to understand and deepen your ability to embrace and embody for yourself. All right. Now, let's have our energy activation, and we're going to set a meditative state for you. I know Spencer has some music planned. So let's all take a deep breath. Exhale with sound. Oh. Let's do that again. Deep breath. Exhale with sound. Oh. And now another deep breath. Bring energy up through your spine, through the crown, allowing it to cascade over you, around you, like a cocoon for you, shaking your fingers, wiggling your toes, letting yourself be fully open, all your energy centers in your beautiful body and beyond your body, your physical energy field, your emotional energy field, your mental energy field, and now back fully to your spiritual energy field, allowing it all to be at the pure flow of pure source. And I ask this question again. What is it? What is this? What is a burden that you're ready to be free of forever? Feel into the frequency of that. The frequency of that burden does not match the frequency we just established. It's lower, it's darker, it's denser. Please don't continue to choose, even if it's an unknowing choice. Please don't continue to choose to live in that frequency. Let it go. Right now, just let it, like a beautiful butterfly releasing. Release it. Release it. It's that simple. It's a choice. You may have to make it multiple times before it stops becoming something you have to keep choosing. And here's what I encourage you to say as you release it. That is not the truth of me. Whether it's shame, whether it's blame, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whether it's a sense of being betrayed, feeling that you were a victim in some way. I'm not saying those things didn't happen. I'm saying that that frequency, living in that frequency, is not the truth of who you are. You are meant to live in a beautiful, glorious frequency of love, divine love, pure love, and experience the joy of the divine expressing through you as you. And that to be the creation in your life that you enjoy and for yourself and others. And you're meant to have deep abiding peace of God, of the divine, of source, deep abiding peace. And you're meant to have a wonderful flowing abundance to provide your every need in the moment you need it and even before you need it, even before you are aware that you need it. You're meant to have all of that, and you're meant to have total well-being in your human physical existence, your body, your emotions, your mental capacity, and your life environment, every aspect, every facet of your life. That is the truth of who you are. Let go of any frequency, attachment to something in the past that's creating a frequency in your life that is lower than the frequency that we just aligned with as I spoke to you. Let it go. Just release it. Just release it. As holding your hand, letting the butterfly touch your hand, and then as it's ready, fly away to be the glorious butterfly it was born to be. And that is who you are. Let yourself be free like that, to just fly away and be the beautiful, magnificent being you were born to be. Your divine self leading you, your beautiful, wonderful human personality, expressing that divine self, not resisting it. And if you're afraid to feel whatever those feelings come up, I promise you, if you will feel them to completion, they will release. Don't stay in them. Observe those feelings. Let them wash through you. Let them swirl around you and then dissipate like bubbles coming up in the air. Butterflies flitting away. Feel it and release it. It's the resistance to the feeling that keeps you stuck. It's the fear that the pain will be so great that you avoid feeling it. I promise you, it is not as painful as the life you create holding on to that frequency because of the fear of the wounds being felt. Don't give that power over you. That is not the truth of who you are. You have power over it, over that experience. You do. Claim it. Claim it now. Claim that you have been bestowed this amazing gift to align with divine presence and power for anything and everything. You are divinely loved. You are divinely supported. You are divinely guided. Your divine self is with you, within you, and about you, always. Open to it, receive it, be one with it. We're going to teach more on that next month. Start right now. Do the best you can with it. Let's take another breath. Stay in that space for another moment or two. Open to the truth of your being, the divine essence of you, expressing through your beautiful personality, leading you, guiding you, supporting you, inspiring you, loving you, celebrating all that you do, helping you always to keep expanding, elevating, evolving. Another deep breath, please. Now let's get grounded so that we can come back to join in this conversation. So in order for you to be grounded, I want you to take a deep breath and exhale with sound. Out through your body. Do that again, please. Deep breath. Exhale with sound. Begin to move your feet and your hands, your fingers, your toes, your legs, your head, your neck, your arms. Make sure you're fully back in your beautiful physical body. And do another deep breath. Exhale with sound. Feel your center in your heart, your voice, your third eye, back into your abdomen, your hips, your grounding chakra. Maybe sometimes it helps to rub your legs, your thighs, your knees. Make sure you're very grounded, very present. Here with us again. Before we begin the conversation, Lori's going to say something. And I do want to remind you that we will be back next month, teaching more about this concept of aligning with the divine. And we're going to teach several aspects of it, several ways to do it, so you can find the one that works best for you. Thank you for being with us. I hope that was a blessing to you. And now, Lori, well, you'd like to speak with us.
Thank you, Renee. I don't know if I can after that. It was very, very poignant for me. I've recently combined spaces and have been kind of scattered in things, and it was just, and I know that Renee, you write these, weeks ago, that these topics we talk about quite often, well in advance. And lately, we've been trying to do a purge here where I am. And yesterday, that is what we spoke of. And this is one of the few weekends where I hadn't really looked at the program. I hadn't really looked at the affirmation and things. So when I did this morning, I kind of chuckled to myself. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that's what this was about today. So maybe it did plant a little seed in my head. Maybe it was just reinforcement. I don't know. But letting go of things, even yesterday. I mean, it doesn't have to be way in the past to let it go. It could be just something that happened yesterday. It's kind of needling. Does it, as one of my friends says, does it really misalign your planets? Because if it doesn't, why are you spending energy on it? And so all of these things have been coming at me with this morning, with the message and things. And I just, it just is comforting to be reassured that I'm on the right path with this cleansing of my mind and things around me, and even with my finances. I've got a lot of things going on. I am the financial cheerleader, and this brings me joy. This center, this, trying to inspire people to really use the tools that are here, and how are we going to do that? And I'm involved in a bunch of different little projects, personal pet projects as well, and budgets at work as well. It's just something that's a tool of mine. It's just something that I do. It's like my brother, who is a mechanic. Yes, he's going to retire from his day job in a year, but is he really going to retire from all the cars that are in front of his house? My sister-in-law hopes so. I don't know. I don't think he can do it. I really don't. It's like my dad too. My dad's going to be 90 soon, and he still tinkers on people's appliances and things. That's just a part of who we are. And with this 501c3, it just brings me joy to be able to do this. And I had a dream a few nights ago that I couldn't be involved anymore. And one of the things that in my dream I did was set up a recurring payment, because sometimes out of sight, out of mind. We don't think about it if we don't use it. We lose things and talents that we've had if we don't do it. And it also made me sad when I woke up, because I can't imagine not being involved in the center and what we do, and not try to bring this to the rest of the world. And part of the decluttering is really organizing things. Organizing so you know exactly what you have, where it is, where it goes. And that's financial as well. It's really easy for us right now because we're still operating on a smaller scale. But in our brains, we have so many things that we want to do at the center, and that takes large operational expenses. So we're really cleansing out what we used to do to see if does that really still bring us joy, and what does everybody really need? We need input for that as well. And that is just something that I was speaking with someone yesterday about. I don't plan for me and how I'm operating in my daily life. When it comes to me, I'll do it for my job, but not for me. Those are things that this brings together. all of our messages are all those little key elements that bring it together. Brings me lots of joy. So please support us in our efforts. And I know you've heard Spence before say, hey, hit that like button, this energy flow, let's get this going. And that's what my message is today. With that energy flow, we have to expand our container to bring more energy in. And sometimes expanding that container means cleaning out some of the stuff that doesn't serve us. And that's what I'm getting from this message. And just to invite you to help us do that and to help us do that for you. Let us know. Let us know. Send the energy our way. We'd really appreciate some finances too. Thank you so much. And whatever you do, we're going to bless and we're going to multiply tenfold. And with that blessing, I'm going to pass it on over to Renee, who's here for me today, to bless and expand.
Thank you, Lori. That's beautiful. I'm about to, it's funny because as Lori said, I do create, the outline for these at least a month ahead, sometimes several months ahead. And I'm about to make a move this coming week. And so I'm also going through cleaning, and it does feel good to say, okay, this is something I enjoyed in the past, but it's really not something that fits now. So I'm going to donate it. I have some friends about to have a garage sale, so I'm donating things to them. And then whatever they don't sell, they'll send off to charity. It's a good feeling. It actually feels very good. That release, as Lori said, it creates then a larger container to receive new, new meaning what fits in your more elevated life that you're choosing in this moment. So let's bless the receiving of every form of energy. We begin by blessing your presence with us today. And we bless you sharing, liking, and loving with all the beautiful little icons. We thank you for that. Sharing the video now or later, or any post you share that we have. And we also want to bless any contributions you made. We've had some come in during the week. We bless those. We may have some come in this coming week. We bless those in advance. We receive them with absolute joy. And we are honored to receive them, and we bless them, and we put them to positive use in the world for our center to grow and to continue to serve and to do good in the world. We bless those who share with us, those who receive from us. And so it is. Amen. All right. Are we ready? I have a question to toss out. And those of you listening now or later even on a replay, feel free to answer, comment, and if you do so while we're live, we'll bring it into the conversation. If not, then we'll address it later. Come back and check I always stay in touch, and so does Spencer. So here's my question for these two brilliant, beautiful souls. I just wondered if you would like to share any tips or just share experiences of you shifting from loving who you are into loving who you're becoming. Let me read there's a post I put up this week on our Facebook page, and it has the butterfly, going from the cocoon all the way into the butterfly flying away. And it says, the metamorphosis. I love who I've been, but I really love who I'm becoming. Dulce Ruby wrote that. So my question is, just to start us off, and then we can let the conversation go where it goes. When's the time that either of you might want to share that wonderful shift from you're happy with who you are, you're enjoying life, and you shift into a more energy and awareness and joy about who you're becoming? I mean, I don't think you give up one. I think it's like one and the other. One grows. It's like, the butterfly spreads its wings and then it flies. The spreading the wings is like being happy with who you are. And then the soaring is the enjoying who you're becoming. And if you want to share an experience of that, or any tips you have about how to maintain that state as a moment to moment awareness in life.
That's a tough one for me. not just because I decided I needed a cough, but it's tough for me to answer because I feel like most of my life I end up, if I do this, it's like I'm looking back with a retrospective lens, and that's just I always feel like I'm the same person, even though there's been lots of changes. So it's always helpful for me to have somebody such as yourself or other people that we've had in our group talk that I can say things to, and they'll be like, "You realize that's not who you are now," or they see they're the outside observers, right? It's hard when you're on the inside sometimes to see that that's what you've become, or that you've become something more or newer.
Well, that's a great insight. I think that could be, in my experience, as a spiritual teacher and spiritual coaching and consulting, that often is the case, that people do not realize. And I think it's something that's just part of being human, because I have people reflect things to me. I was just thinking, I think it was just yesterday, Spencer, about something you said to me at one point about, we had a team meeting, the three of us, and we shared with each other what we saw as unique divine gifts, each that, and it was every single one of us were told something about ourselves that felt wonderful and it felt true, but we had not really fully grasped it about ourselves, right? So it is helpful to have from a person who is a very evolved consciousness, or at least in the moment of being aligned with that, sharing that. Absolutely. It is beautiful.
Yeah, and even I mean, sometimes we get those little nudges. Like, so I guess for something like that happened to me just this week, where I'm interviewing for a new job, and I'm at my current job, and I was talking to my current boss about that, and I just said, yeah, I have this job interview, and she said, what's it for? And I said, it's a project manager, and something I'm nervous about because it's got the title manager in it, and Lord knows that managers know everything there is to be known about everything. So if you have that title, so it's is a bit anxiety inducing for me. And I told her that, and I said, yeah, I don't know if she's like, Spencer, I have a good feeling you'll get this. She said, you'd be so good at that. She's like, I just know you'd be so good at that. And I'm like, wow, okay. Having that person's vote of confidence really was just something that was helpful in, I guess, allaying that anxiety that I wasn't enough for this role, or that I'm not enough. And you know what? Even if that company decides that it's not the right fit for them, that's okay. I know that I have developed these abilities, in my personal, and I think a lot of that deals with my personal life. I exist in a state of organized chaos. So I'm like, oh, no company would want me to have control over their projects. But in reality, when I'm working for a company, it's a little easier for me to compartmentalize that and have it nice and tidy, versus my own life. It's like, nope, I know my keys are under that pile of mail. That's the pile of mail I keep my keys under in my personal life.
Well, that's still organized. Isn't that funny?
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny.
Everything has a place. It's just not ideal for everybody. Yeah.
That's good. I like that. Yes.
I am very orderly. So when you move my cheese, it it can disturb me sometimes. And I think that is when I realized that I am evolving, is because I really couldn't care where my cheese is. Who moved my cheese? I don't even care if there's cheese. Do I have what I need to do today? Cool. Living in the moment I'm always a planner. I always have multiple things going. I have multiple books because I do like compartmentalization, like Spence was saying. And one of the things I realized in writing things daily is that letting go, clearing out, not caring about your cheese really is a wonderful thing. because we can get so stuck on where is that cheese? Who moved my cheese? Oh my God, my cheese. That you don't realize the cheese is spoiled because you've been so fixated on the cheese that you didn't, take care of it as well as you should have, or what have you. And that whole release of, do I have what I need for today? How am I feeling today? What's going on in this moment? It's not brain surgery or rocket science, or rocket surgery or brain science, depending on who you are. I know a few rocket surgeons who actually do take pieces of rockets and what's going on and surgically reinvent them. So that's kind of cool. And it's just that right there, that moment where, okay, it doesn't misalign my planets, I'm good. Instead of going, ooh, how could I have done that better? What does that mean? What does that mean? And over analyzing things, that was the moment. And I have little moments like that pretty often now. It isn't just, once a few months because I work on it. It's daily. And I think that that's my biggest aha. That's my biggest metamorphosis, my biggest, spreading my wings and flying moments.
Oh, that's great. I like that. Both of you, great wisdom. I think it's pretty cool too that part of what I love about this new concept or new format with the conversation is we can all, each of us, offer our different perspectives and our different ways of going about embracing spiritual wisdom and implementing it in our every day-to-day life, And so I love that, because the Who Moved My Cheese, that's a cute little book, but it's profound, and it's like you said, in trying to control the cheese so it doesn't get moved, you're constricting your energy. You're not open to receive for the things you desire, like you say you desire them, and you maybe whatever your process, you pray for them or you visualize them or you give thanks in advance or something. But then do you stay in that open flow, or are you back to, wait a minute, controlling the cheese not getting moved, right?
Yeah.
And so kind of like you were saying about the keys under which stack of mail, right? Well, if that works for you, see, and you're trying to make it be different because somebody else says it must be, the keys should be on a hook by the door or whatever, or in a certain place, and the mail has to be a certain place. Well, for that person, that might feel wonderful and true. But if that's not your personality type, right, your joy, maybe you're more free-flowing sort, then making yourself do that constricts your energy, as opposed to, I know where they are and that's all that matters. So open and flow and create new.
Yeah, I'm always
trying. Go ahead.
I'm always reminded of that with like the I believe is Pema Chodron, who had in her book about she would go to a monastery for a summer, and the monks always kept the kitchen disorganized according to her, and she would be there and it'd spend the whole 6 weeks she was there organizing the kitchen, and then leave and then come back and be disorganized and being upset about it. And then her realization was, it wasn't until she stopped caring or released this notion of this is organized by my standard, that the kitchen became organized. She had to release that notion of, and yeah, she was, in that instance, whoever the monk was using their energy to just focus on what was wrong with the situation, focus on how it wasn't a certain way, versus realizing there's organization here. It's just not what I'm attached to.
That's cool. I love that story. What were you going to say, Lori?
Yeah, it kind of similar, but more how we're living with other people. Because sometimes we need certain structure for us. So we try to make somebody else's structure that way, and it doesn't work for them because we're in the same space. And it's okay to not, unless it really impacts. And it's, we've all heard it's the million little things that make a relationship thrive or not. It's like, what do we do about these little million things? And that's one of them is, you know, if I need some things some way for me, but the other person that I'm living with does not, how does that really affect me? Because in the past, I would be like, no, I need it this way for me. I need it this way for me. But really, do I? Because if I'm not really involved in that and I release that to him, then I don't need it that way because I don't have to care. Because, we're a team and this is what's going on and I don't have to be involved in that. That's your gig.
I love that. As you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, that's a great way that it's a very common form of resistance that we probably don't really pay attention to, but could be really very freeing, very liberating. We want to release that need to control that is actually a resistance to something being a different standard. And that belief that you said, which is, as you became aware, is not really your truth, is that it has to be that way for you to be okay, right? And we say that a lot. We say, no, I have to have this. I can't have that. I have to have this, right? And I think it's good for us. And I've caught myself with that too. And I've thought, I don't have to have it. I choose to have it. So, what's a choice versus what are you putting as a limitation? I have to, because you're giving your power to it. I have to have this organized a certain way, or I can't be happy. I can't be fulfilled. I can't be at peace. I can't be whatever. It's not really true. It's only true because you're choosing it to be true.
Right.
But what you could say instead is, it is my preference for things to be organized to some whatever degree you like it, and then allow others the right to have their standard. Whatever their standard is a choice, not an absolute. And so is yours. We have to be, I think that's really cool. That's very wise. So I don't live with anyone else at the present time other than my little kitty. So, but it's been fun because I've been working, as you all know, renovating a home I'm about to move into. And so there is I call my angel home team. They're there. And at times there's 3 people there doing different things, right? And it's funny because then I go in and to lock up after everybody leaves. And, I go to say goodbye or whatever, give them whatever tools or bring them something to drink or whatever. And then they drive away and I'm locking up. And so I always just give a moment to walk through and celebrate the progress and all that. And it's been fun to see what they do with their tools, their stuff. Like as someone's cleaning, she tends to just lay it down and walk away, right? And the person who's painting has everything in one big pile in the biggest room, which, that he had asked, would this be acceptable? Sure, And then there's a person that's moving around doing something in every room, right? And she seems to keep her things, I think, with her, in her truck. And so it's just been, and it all is perfectly fine, right? It works for them, which makes it work for me. I don't need them to organize it the way I would. I don't know their skill set, so I don't even know how I organize those things, but it's been fun to watch. And then I will sometimes come in and they're all in the moment doing their thing. And it's just like this or like you said, organized chaos. It's like, but it is, they're just dancing. And, one is the painter singing while he's painting, which is really cool. And then one person is sort of maybe just kind of quiet and, doing their thing. And the other person is like asking questions, coming out, checking on things, and it's just kind of cool. It's been fun. It's just a whole nother experience. All right. So as we're wrapping up, you guys have anything else you want to say, or should we wrap up? Feel complete? So here's what I invite anyone listening with us live and those listening later. As I know in other time zones, you have to come in later. So I just want you to just start doing this process. We did it in the meditation, in the energy activation, but continue to do it, please. just check your energy. Check your energy. Don't check other people's energy. Check your energy. And when your energy is lower than you want it to be, become aware and just observe. Are you stuck in something in the past and you're dragging that with you and that's your energy frequency? If so, don't have any criticism. You can even make it a joke and say, well, isn't that silly? I'm just going to let it go. And just even visualize releasing it. Let it go. And then choose your energy anew. Choose anew. Here's what I choose. And here's what I want. I love who I've been. Make peace with it. I love who I've been. I love who I am. And now I love who I'm becoming. I encourage you to have a week full of that. And let us share with us. I'll have a post for you next Sunday that'll go up about the time of our live stream. Since we're not live, I will have a post for you. I will remind you of that if you have forgotten it. So you can go through the videos, the replays if you like, or go through the energy activations, or just listen to the conversation if you missed any of that. And then we'll be back in May on, May the 8th, I believe. Is that right? No, it's not May 8th. Let me look. Hold on. Give you the wrong date. Let me get it for you.
Well, it's the 8th.
It is the 8th. Okay, great. I did get it right. All right, we'll be back May 8th, the second Sunday in May. We'll have a new series. We're going to really focus on how does it mean to align with the divine? And we're going to approach it from different angles to support you in finding your way of doing that, the one that works best for you. All right? Because you're divine, having that personal divine connection, whether you call it God, life force, source energy, nature, the life force in nature, whatever it is, the power that creates worlds, it's vitally important that you learn to be aligned with it, because that's your true strength, your true wisdom, your true health, your true vitality, and your true empowerment. So we're going to focus on that more in the next couple of months. All right. Have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for being